Hello, everyone. My name is James, obviously, from Roll the Roll, and we did promise a one shot review of the APG. Unfortunately, due to children, one of our reviewers had to leave in the middle of our one shot review, so now you get two shots. One shot covering all the way up to classes, and Alice and I are going to finish the rest of the book off.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah,
Alice is
try
going to
and get
finish the rest of the book off. I'm just going to be pretty.
You're the eye candy.
I'm the eye
All right.
candy. Nice.
No.
I've got animal companions on the screen here. I do believe Alice had a lot to say about animal companions.
A few things. I do like some of the new additions. The arboreal sapling's really cool because now we actually have a sort of a really interesting flavor option for leaf druids who are also in the animal order. Like it's pretty niche, but I do think it's very cute. So you can now be a leshy with a leaf leshy familiar and a little tree companion. It's adorable. I believe it's our first animal companion that has a ranged attack.
Does it?
So with its throw rock ability.
Oh,
So it doesn't do a lot
is
of
that
damage, but
yeah, but that's an advanced maneuver. That's
yes,
like
it is. So it would
yeah,
be a high level one. But I believe that is the first one we have that has a ranged attack, which is an interesting development.
it
But
is.
no. And one thing I was quite surprised about is the shark, because that seems like a very kind of specific animal companion for aquatic campaigns. And like most of the other ones sort of have sort of a couple of speeds. If they have a different one, generally have a land speed. This is our first one without a land speed. So I'm sort of was hoping there'd be like an aquatic adventures book with stuff like that. So I was really surprised to see that coming up. And it does mean that it makes it even more disappointing that we don't have a penguin yet, because there's no excuses if we can have a shark.
Paizo, where are
So
our penguins?
where are our penguins? But I am very happy about the ones we do have. Like I think a lot of people are very happy to have boars to ride on as well, and we do
Do
have a new mount with the riding drake as well.
yeah? Do boars not have that? No, they're not mounted.
Boars do not have the mount trait, but you can technically ride anything even if it doesn't have the mount trait. They just can't support you an attack on the same turn while riding, and they can't use other speeds other than land speed. But you technically can. Like you could be a halfling on a boar. Nothing is stopping you. So go do it, guys. So
I
no.
mean,
So I
we
was
we have
very
the
happy about
uncommon
that.
trait on a couple of these,
Yes.
the sapling and the drake.
Yeah, and the sapling actually has an access. The riding drake does not. I think that's very much an ask your GM, because they have a breath weapon, and that is a very cool mount. So, yeah.
Wow.
So I think there's going to be a few. I think especially a few champions begging their GMs to let them have that. Get a kobold tyrant on his riding drake.
Maybe I'll ask my GM if I can have a riding drake for my champion.
Maybe you will. I think
Familiars?
familiars. I love some of the new familiars. Well, the new abilities, because yeah, I feel like they covered a lot of the like stuff you kind of like a lot of the more practical stuff you need a lot in the base book. And here we have some other practical stuff and some stuff that's a bit more niche and funny that I really like. And it's like there's not something they could necessarily fill up the base book with, because obviously there's so much there. But they could like add in some cuter stuff like the accompanist, where your familiar like claps along or like chirps with your performance and grants you a little bonus to performance, which is so adorable and I love. And it's like there's not going to be many people who pick familiars for that, apart from like someone like me. But like for people who do want it, I'm glad there's some really cute little options now. So yeah, and especially for the witches, when you can get a lot of different ones, you can afford to pick up some of the really cutesy ones. Because we have the other partner in crime as well, where it like helps you on deception and thievery. I feel like that it adds a lot more heart to the familiars when they have cute little abilities like that.
But what about master's form?
Oh, that's kind of like creepy, man.
It is. It's very creepy, isn't it?
It is. It's like I'm not, like it's just like a really unsettling version. It's just like oh gosh. So yeah, but I think it could have some cool uses though.
Yeah. I don't have a lot to say about familiars. I personally don't have a lot of I don't have a lot of experience in dealing with familiars. I mean, there's wizards in a couple of campaigns that I play in and run, but I personally am not a wizard familiar kind of using guy.
Mhm.
Um, I do
I've got
like that
some
they're
witches
not
planned.
right. I do like that they're not and this goes back to the base book, obviously, that they're not
Yeah,
actually animals, but more like magical,
yeah, they're sort
like
of weird.
creations or essences or
Yeah,
a collection of magical power
like
in the
some of them
form of
might
a.
have once been animals, but yeah, there's something more now. There's something odd, and I think they tried to reflect that with the Witch's Familiar now having 9 tails, because I believe it didn't in 1E, but they're sort of trying to show sort of that the familiars now are a bit more sort of otherworldly and odd, and aren't just like this is my pet cat. It's like this is my pet cat with a forked tongue. Um, so yes. And yeah, no, I think that's really cool. And of course, we now have the specific familiars. So this is a new introduction with this book, which is really cool.
Which
Fairy dragons are a favorite of mine. I adore them, so I was very happy to see that.
I like the pseudo dragon. I don't. Did we even get a pseudo dragon? I don't
We did
think
not get
so.
pseudo dragon yet. I would not be surprised if that comes out at some point because I doubt these will be the last specific familiars. Now we have the rules for them.
I do like that it. They're not like. I mean, they're specific, but they're based on how many abilities that you have,
Yeah.
and like which ones it puts them all together for you.
Yes. No. Definitely. I think it's been done really cutely, and I think it sort of makes it clear so that they're fairly easy to homebrew your own ones and opens it up for new official ones in future. Again, I really don't think these are going to be the last 3 we see by any means. And yeah, I'm glad that the fairy dragon and the spell slime are available to everyone. Obviously, the imp being lawful evil is very understandable because they are literally creatures of hell. And yeah, have you seen its infernal temptation ability? Where
Uh,
it gives you a little a boost for an hour. Um, and if you die while that boon is in place, you die and go directly to hell.
huh.
It's so messed up. So it's like, be careful if you have an imp familiar in your party, and don't accept anything it offers you.
Wow. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's brutal. I love it. So, but yeah, it's just careful, folks. That's how you end up having a campaign where you have to save your teammate from hell.
The next page is obviously some beautiful art. Looks like the
Yes,
swashbuckler. I want to say that's Merciel the Rogue
I
and
think it
Kyra,
is. Yes.
who are a
Yep.
married couple now. Congratulations
Yes.
to
We get to
them.
see their cute art later. I'm very
Um,
excited about that.
and then we get to what I consider the meat of the
Yes.
APG.
Absolutely.
Ancestries, amazing. Classes, amazing. New classes, super amazing. But this book, it's really about these archetypes.
This is where it shines.
This,
Honestly, this is like if somebody's like, okay, what does Pathfinder 2e have that other systems don't? Like, what? Why should I play this? I'll be like archetypes. Archetypes change the game. They are incredible, and the amount that have been added here and the amount of specialization they add is amazing.
I mean, first off, you're going to start with obviously your four
Mm.
multi-class, new class archetypes: your investigator, your
I do
witch, your
love the little
oracle.
Dampier Oracle. Looks like some kind of like sexy dating ad vampire. She's so funny. I love her.
With little like, are those supposed to be bats?
It looks like blood.
It does, but they kind of bat shapey, I guess.
I guess that's her vibe.
The little swashbuckler, little
He's
halfling
so cute.
swashbuckler.
Yeah. And then yeah, I got this like Crusader witch.
The witch does not even really look like witchy at all. It's like
But that's
really
what I like because it's
cool.
not what you'd
Yeah.
expect from a witch. It's like yeah, like sort of it's kind of I like that they challenge some of your expectations of what a witch looks like. And it's like at first glance no, and then you see his hand and his bird and his like the skulls on his belt, and then he starts to look a bit more like a witch.
Or or a warlock.
Don't know what that is.
People want
Never heard of them.
warlocks, Paizo. I don't know. What
That's
have you
what
got?
witches are.
Yeah, what have you got? Oh, we have the acrobat.
This is actually one I think is like sleeper OP
Is it?
because just taking the dedication means that you get to legendary in acrobatics just
Mm.
by taking your level 2 feat. And if you're taking things like Catfall and Nimble Crawl, so this gives you another skill to legendary with some of the best legendary like skill feat progression. I think it's actually sneakily really good, even just the basic dedication.
I mean, it
Like
does
not
get you
all,
to legendary for free.
literally, like I think it's one that's been overlooked a bit, and I think that one's actually really nice. But no, And just as a general overview of the archetypes with things like the acrobat stuff, I'm really happy so many things happen now that's like kind of general things in the world. Like we've had a lot of very specific archetypes, and they're really cool when you're like, oh, I'm part of this particular group, and I'm like a Halcyon spellcaster from the Gambler Academy. I've like made a wizard who's got all that. I love it. But sometimes you just like, I just want something like a generic thing for my part. Like I'm just like I am a scout. Like I'm not part of any organization, but my character's a scout, so I'm building them as a ranger. And you're like, well, now there's a scout dedication that you can use to show just your simple background as a scout. And I love all this general sort of profession style things, and that your profession sort of outside of adventuring could also impact actually your play. Things like archaeologist and everything as well. That a lot more about your character can now be sort of mechanically made. I really love that. So, I think, yeah, the acrobat is another one that you can easily have in a lot of ways.
Anything about the archaeologist?
I love that they have to be trained in thievery. It's like archaeologists or thieves.
It seems like you could have. It seems like you could have just renamed archaeologist Pathfinder.
Yes.
And it would have worked within Galarian as well.
Yeah, there's definitely some overlap.
Which is good. I do like. I really like it, Paizo, when you stick Galarian specific things in just your base rule books. It's really good for those of us that care about more than just the rules.
Yeah, I love all my deities and everything.
I looked at Archer,
yeah,
and being able to apply that to like a champion or something sounds really cool.
Yeah, and again, I think talking more generally, having these like specialization weapon stuff like the archer, the mauler, the dual wielder is really nice for people. There's a lot of people like, I want to build this particular kind of character. It's like it gives them even more to specialize in. Like you say, like for a champion, it's like if you're like a fighter or a ranger, they often have things specific for being a ranged person. If you're a champion, like the paladin reaction upgrade's really nice if you're ranged, where you can attack from range with it. But they don't have much stuff specializing for archers, whereas this obviously provides it fantastically. So it helps, yeah, if you're a paladin of Erastil.
Which didn't we make a ruling about?
Yes, we did.
Erastil.
And then we might be best not to mention that here.
Assassin doesn't require you to be evil.
No, which is nice.
Apparently murder for money is not necessarily an evil act. Apparently
it doesn't
charging for your abilities.
Murder. You might be an assassin just for like you go around and you assassinate all the monarchs to bring about revolutions to the world. Like chaotic neutral, let's go.
Wow. You go.
No, because I think obviously the red mantis are very specifically lawful evil, and it makes sense for their particular girl to be lawful evil. But yeah, not all assassins are lawful evil, and yeah, so I do like that. That's not a requirement for them. They do have some fairly particular requirements though for their prerequisites.
Yeah,
like, I was
crafting.
quite surprised. Yeah, like I thought it would just be like stealth, but they have to have alchemical crafting, and they have to be trained in crafting, deception, and stealth. I'm quite surprised by the alchemical stuff. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense because the poisons, but it's just like, oh, okay, so I have to be quite good at like alchemy stuff to be an assassin, which seems a little bit odd.
I mean, they do get a cool. Is this the first art type that gives you a cool ability in the dedication?
The first one alphabetically, that we do have some others like the pirate gives you the boarding one, which we'll get to, which I adore.
That's what you're waiting for, is the pirate?
Oh, I love the pirate, but
I didn't really.
I love them all.
I didn't really look at the Bastion. I do believe that this is something that you would assign to maybe help you if you're a non-fighter.
Quite likely it could work well for things like druids, especially with the nimble shield hand, because that can mean that you can draw like a divine focus out if you have one. So if you have like that nice like primal focus item, that will let you pull that out if you need to cast a material spell without having to drop your shield. So that one I think is a nice little one for things like druids. And can I just say that art is gorgeous.
Could be sweeper OP with like a swashbuckler or an Aldari duelist or a duelist. Like you can use a shield, but you're still considered freehand. I don't know. Would that apply?
I think it only counts as freehand for the purposes of interact, and you can hold things. Oh. I don't think it counts as freehand for that. So sadly, I don't think it's going to go with.
They got me.
Sorry.
They got me. Thought I was going to be
But
able to
you
be
still get
a
some good shielding. Yeah, no, that could have been cool. But no, that I
destructive
love it.
block.
So dynamic, and she's got such nice armor on. I love that. It's like there's no heals, there's no like boot plates. Like that. That is gorgeous. So and like the wolf on her shield. Like I would die for her. Like
You like her, huh?
I do. I do.
All right, I know you're going to go nuts on Beastmaster
I am gonna
because
go
you've
nuts on
you've
Beastmaster.
talked about it to me specifically so much. So I'm just gonna let you go, Alice.
Yeah. Well, I think I have to start with the art again because that is the cutest badger I've ever seen in my life. The giant badger that she has, I adore. But yes, Beastmaster, I think everyone has been waiting for the Beastmaster. And I think everyone's probably going to play a Beastmaster at some point because we finally have a good way to get an animal companion if you are not a class that starts with an animal companion. And you don't just get an animal companion, you can get like 4 of them, and you can have 2 of them on the field at once. Although I do appreciate they made that uncommon because that provides a space for a GM to say, no, we are not dealing with that. It's just like, so that's I think the one feat of theirs that is uncommon is the one that lets them have 2 out at once. So
Now
I appreciate
there was also the archetype in Extinction Curse Book 2 that lets you get an animal companion.
it does, but it's trained to performance and replaces its advanced maneuver. So it works well for something like Extinction Curse, but it's not what everybody wants from just getting an animal companion. So I think it can work in niche situations. And again, like I said, a lot of the ones they've released before have been fairly niche, and I like that. But I like that these ones are a lot more general, and this is another one that's more general. And yeah, I think this works so well with the orcs' ability to give ferocity to their pets because it explicitly says to any of your pets as well as an orc. So you can have 4 pets all with ferocity, and it's the first way we get animal companions a reaction as well. So I think there's some very nice synergy we have coming in here. But yeah, I just love the idea of it. Sort of you're sitting there with your dog, and just out in the forest is your bear, off in the river nearby is your crocodile, and flying in the winds above is your eagle, and whichever one you need, you can
So
call in.
so my question to Paizo about the Beastmaster is whoever watched the movie Beastmaster and then
No.
made that entire movie this archetype,
Is that
please
what
at me on Twitter because I love that movie as a kid and now I can play that character.
Is it just exactly all of
It's
it?
it's yeah,
Crawling
he's
in your.
got he's got like a,
That's
a
so good.
bird and 2 little ferrets as like pets.
Yeah.
And they like help him get out of quicksand at one point. He's killing like some kind of it's crazy. It's really the
Yeah.
Beastmaster. It's a straight up movie. I used to watch it on, it used to be on TV all the time.
Yeah.
You would
That's
probably
so
actually
cute.
like it, Alice.
I probably would. It sounds like good fun. I like
Yeah.
anything with
But
cute
anyway,
animals as
that's
well.
at RTR Rin. Yep.
So I can give you my life. But no, so no. I think this is going to be one of
I think
the
it
single most popular
I think
dedications
it
that we
actually
have here.
scales the Beastmaster at the same speed as the Druid.
It is. It's the really
Yep.
good scaling. Yeah.
Yep.
So for some rangers, probably consider this as a way to get the animal companion, but they do need to keep in mind that the animal companions they get from this won't get their hunt prey
Right.
abilities and hunter's edge stuff. So keep that in mind if you're like, oh, I'll just ignore my ranger animal companion feat. Don't.
But if you want to be a fighter with an animal companion,
If you want to be a fighter with an animal companion, this
this is the
provides a
way.
great option. There's another great option for that as well if you want to be a mounted fighter, which we'll get to.
But we're not getting to that one yet. It's coming. But we got
No,
the blessed
yeah.
one though.
Yes, I was very surprised this wasn't uncommon.
I don't
I
like
thought
this
like
art. I don't know why.
it does seem a little bit sort of disjointed.
Yeah. Maybe
Mm,
it's supposed to be.
yeah. I assume she's Shoanti because she's got shaved head.
I mean, she's got the tattoos on her head too.
Yeah.
Looks like her arms.
But yeah.
I don't know much about this one. I know that
It's basically gives you like if you want to like get the lay on hand stuff and you're like, oh, I'll archetype into champion, and then you're like, oh wait, the first things I get are all like heavy armor and I can't get like all the like healing that I actually want straight away. You instead go for blessed one because then you get the lay on hands and all of the healing stuff you want if you don't want all the armor stuff.
is that
So
what
this is yeah.
is that what Protector Sacrifice is? Is that basically Lay on Hands?
Blessed One dedication
Oh,
gives you lay on hands.
right. And then Protector Sacrifice.
That's to do with sacrificing armor, I believe. Or wait, where are you looking at protector sacrifice?
It's Blessed Sacrifice Feat 4.
Oh, blessed sacrifice. Oh, I'm not sure what that one is, but just the dedication gives you lay on hands straight up. So if you just want lay on hands straight up, do not take the champion dedication. Take the blessed one dedication. Although if you're a champion, you've already got it, so there's not much point.
So just take it anyway and have 2 Lay on Hands. It's fine.
Yep, let's go. They totally stack.
I don't know. I mean, it would give you another focus point though.
I think it might. Yeah. I'm not sure actually. I think it only gives you one if you don't already have one. But no, but I was very surprised this wasn't uncommon, because I feel like this is quite a fairly like particular one with being like blessed by a deity. Like you just have your whole party can just be blessed by deities at level 2, which is pretty funny. But I don't think it's like particularly broken, at least.
Doesn't
That
look
just
broken.
surprised me. No.
The Bounty Hunter.
She looks so smug. Look at her.
She does look smug. You like her too, don't you?
I do. I like women in really good armor and big boots. Like that's a good look.
I mean, I'm glad that we finally got a feat called Posse, because we've needed that forever. That's the most Wild West you're going to get in Galarian, guys, is being a bounty hunter with the Posse feat.
I mean, bounty hunter fits well for a Wild West style and everything as well. Got a little wanted poster.
It does seem like this is a way to be a ranger without like
The nature
being
stuff.
a ranger.
It's almost like more of a society ranger.
Yeah, but
Whereas you're sort of more focused on like tracking down like humanoid targets rather than like creatures and stuff. I mean, it still works with creatures, but sort of the vibe of it is a lot more sort of social and urban hunting.
keep pace is really good.
And they can get bowlers, which are ranged trip weapons.
Pretty good there. Like if you wanted to play a group of all bounty hunters.
Yes. No, that's the thing as well. What I love about these like general archetypes is there are ones that you can just have as a whole group, where you can just like, yeah, you're a group of bounty hunters, or yeah, you're a group of scouts, and it's just like you're a
Or
group
pirates.
of acrobats. Or pirates, exactly.
It's coming.
Ones like that work for great for particular campaigns. Ones like the pirate and the gladiator, like outside of their niches, would suck. But inside of like a pirate in a boat campaign or gladiator in a tournament campaign that we're maybe getting next year, are fantastic. And I think they're very specifically in there for those kind of campaigns. And I think if all of the archetypes were like that, I'd be upset. But having a couple like that, I really like. That there's sort of a couple in there, like if you're doing that kind of campaign, this is probably a great one. And then others that work more generally. I think there's a really good mix of archetypes in here.
And then your Cavalier is up. I believe you were.
This is the fighter mounted one. I love the little like specification as well, that like because Cavaliers, the whole idea is they like pledge to something, and they have like if you're pledged to a Hell Knight order, like you can take Hell Knight dedication feats without needing to gain more feats from the archetype and stuff, or like so when there's like order dedications, you can like ignore the requirements if that's your order, and similar ones to like the other Hell Knight ones and the Megambian ones, where it's considered part of the progression. So I thought that was a cute little thing. And
How does this one level up your mount? Is it as fast as Druid, or is it slower?
I think it might be as fast as Druid. It's definitely faster than the Champion's mount. So if you want to be a really good mounted fighter, this is definitely something to look at. If you don't want to play a champion.
Nimble or Savage at 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mature at level 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fast too.
Yeah, so it's the good stuff. But no, so yeah. Obviously, you can't get a flying horse that's trained in religion and can speak, but you can get a pretty nice horse for combat. So it's
Is this the only archetype with a level 20 feat?
I think it might be. This is almost practically an entire class, because this was a class in 1E, I believe. So this archetype is pretty established. Yeah, no, and I think it might be the only level 20. We'll see if we get proved wrong. But I do like, yeah, you can command your mount as a extra action with quickened, which is pretty neat because that gives that 2 extra actions for yours, and then you can have the rest of your turn. So if you do want to just specialize completely into being a mounted fighter, you just pick whatever your base class is, and then you can just take pretty much like only feats from this if you wanted, and
You could
just
probably
completely
take most
specialize.
all of these feats.
Literally, that's what I'm saying. And you just ignore your class stuff. You just like pick up fighter and then go straight into Cavalier and just dedicate to Cavalier, and that's how you play the Cavalier class. But then also, if you didn't want to do everything from it, but just wanted a nicer mount, then that works too.
How did you say this archetype?
I said Cavalier, but it might be Cavalier.
I think in America we would use Cavalier. I've never heard
I
it
say
called
Cavalier
Cavalier.
for if you are acting Cavalier, but then I say Cavalier for the things. But that could just be that because it's a word I read a lot. I haven't said a lot, and I could just be completely wrong. So don't accept that as a general pronunciation here. I have a lot of things that I pronounce wrong because I just read them.
But you're the celebrity of the show, so
Oh gosh, I love this. The upstage reaction is so funny and it's so thematic. You're just like, oh, darling, darling, let me show you how that's done. Oh dear, and you just do it instead. I think it's so cute stuff like that. Like I don't know who like came up with that, but they should be very proud of themselves because it's so cute. I love it. He's like, you show everyone how it's really done. After your firm has tried their best. It's so patronizing. I adore it. And it doesn't even have like a fail react, like a fail or critical fail. So it's almost like always worth doing.
that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Never
So,
tire. Good stuff. The
yes.
dandy. Mm. Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah.
You want to be that player? This is for you. You know the player I'm talking about.
I just love gossip law.
Yeah.
It's so funny. So gossip law, you basically get bardic law, but like dubious knowledge. So you kind of have heard of everything, but not very well. And you're just like, oh yes, I know this because Mary said the other day that she heard from her uncle who works in the castle that, and it's just like, I adore that. It's just like the information might not be correct, or it might be partially correct, but you have heard this somewhere. So I think that's probably my favorite thing. Look, we're getting there. It's so funny.
Dragon Disciple should have been its own class. I think it really is its own class. Really, it's kind of like the Cavalier.
Yeah, again, there's some pretty intense archetypes like this one. I think it definitely works better with the sorcerers and spellcasting kobolds than barbarian. I feel like I was considering it for my barbarian and looking at it, I was like, it doesn't really work. Sort of a lot of the stuff doesn't work very well, and sort of you get like spells, but only if you've already a spellcaster. But I feel like for a sorcerer, it's really nice. But
You
for
don't
my
think it would work
barbarian, I
with
went for a
Barbarian?
different. I don't think it was what I was looking for my Dragon Barbarian. Thankfully, one of the archetypes which we will got to, I instead fell in love with, and that's become my Dragon Barbarian's archetype.
Maybe I will play a dragon scaled kobold, dragon instinct barbarian, dragon disciple.
With you're also going to take the Dragonic Sorcerer. Is the thing.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah,
I'll take that blood
another
lunch. It'll
archetype.
be fine. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
just so
Just
much
get all the
multi-classing.
dragon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just all of it. It's good artwork though.
It's sad you can't get into it as a Dragon Stance Monk, but I know Dragon Stance Monk isn't it's not the same as like a class choice, so that would be a bit too easy maybe.
Maybe that could be a pretty cool character concept though.
Yes, I have my Dragon Monk. She's my darling.
The dual weapon warrior. I didn't really look at dual weapon warrior because there are so many classes that do it well.
Yeah,
Rogues, fighters, rangers.
definitely. And I think this is if you are playing somebody who's not one of those classes who wants to pick it up. Again, things like this and the archer and stuff allow for more sort of weird builds where you aren't necessarily playing a martial class, but want to be good at a particular kind of fighting style regardless. Where you're like, yeah, I'm an oracle dual weapon wielder. And you're like, I'm a battle oracle, and it's like, but the oracle feats aren't giving me much in the ways of actually getting fighting stuff. But if I archetype into one of the like battle archetypes that gives me a particular weapon thing, then that works great for me. So I think these work well for those kind of things. Or if you're like, yeah, I'm a wizard archer, yeah. But try and get Eldritch Archer.
What is the deal with dual weapon blitz? How does that one work with map? It doesn't say.
If it doesn't say, then I think it works
Like
the
it's
same.
normally, yeah.
Yep. But being able to stride and attack twice during the movement for two
Without
actions is
without it being a flourish.
yes.
So if you're a
But
monk, listen to me. If you're a monk with
flurry of blows
monastic
is
weaponry,
oh, but you couldn't flurry of blows.
why not?
You could do it afterwards, but this is specifically saying you have to strike. Flurry of blows is its own action that grants you strikes, but it's not the
Right?
strike action.
But I'm saying you could use this with flurry of blows because this is not a flourish.
You could use flurry of blows as an action before or after.
Yeah, that's
You
what I
could
mean.
do it as part. Yeah, cool. Yes, yes, absolutely, you could.
Yeah, I mean that's 4 attacks though, is what I'm saying.
Yes, absolutely.
And a stride.
Yes. So
That's 5
pretty nice
actions.
action economy.
That's
Yeah.
5 actions for 3. All right, so we know what we're playing in your game. Playing a monastic weaponry dual wield monk. The duelist. Look, Paizo, why did you kill the Aldori duelist? Why did you do it? Why? Why did you make them defunct? This is so much better. So much better. Ugh. I can't even talk about it. It breaks my heart.
Oh, Dora Duelist has had to switch over.
I mean, granted, the Adori duelist does give you the dueling sword scaling,
Yeah.
which this doesn't give you scaling in any weapons. But if you're a human with unconventional weaponry and unconventional expertise, you get it anyway. Really good.
So
Selfless Pari, or Pari. My last name is Perry, everyone. So when I see Perry with an A, I tend to pronounce it differently. But Selfless Parry is really cool. That's
yeah.
You would think that would be an ability that had made it into the core book, but it didn't. That's really cool that it's here.
Yeah, I feel like we've been able to explore a lot of options that I didn't necessarily get to before with a lot of these.
Is Duelist Challenge the first and only feat that just adds damage? It's just like add this much damage.
No. I believe we have other things that just add damage.
Because if I were to take this on my rogue, I would do +3 damage with all of my attacks.
Yeah.
And I wonder, is that
Because like when I'm
good for a
jousting on
feat?
my horse, I get extra damage.
That's from the that's not from a feat though. That's from the
The
support from
support,
the.
yeah. But there are like ways to get damage based on the number of damage dice, and I'm like that's one way I do it. And I'm pretty sure there are others. I'd have to double
But
check.
I mean, is this the only feat? You know,
Again, I'm not sure. I would have to double check that.
that's really cool. It does take an action though. Eldritch Archer, another big 2-page spread here.
Yes. So this is another one that I think a lot of people were wanting to have. Yeah. And this is our first one that we've looked at that I think there we go. It's at level 6. So yeah, so a couple of them have slightly higher.
Well, that's because it looks like it was built to replace the Arcane Archer Prestige class from first edition.
Yeah, they don't do prestige classes in this one. It's got a higher level archetypes. No, I do love like the Eldritch Archer style, so I definitely need to try and build one of these. I think some
Magic
people were
arrow.
sort of sad you couldn't make it like that. It's sort of better with marshals going into it because of the fact that it's you need to be expert in a bow. But I think there are ways to work with it, like a war cleric who worships a god like a Rastal or a Sononos or anything, can I think get some good stuff from this.
Yeah, maybe you should point this out to Chai in my game.
Yes, because she worships the Elven pantheon.
Yeah, she might like to enchant her arrows.
She might. Have to have a word with her.
Familiar master. Uh, like I was saying on familiars, I'm not really very into the familiar thing. I don't usually play casters. I'm more of a martial kind of skill person. Do you know anything about this one?
I'm just very glad that there is a way to get familiars outside of sort of classes and stuff without having to like do something cheesy and pick a gnome just because you want a familiar. So if you do want to be, you're like okay, yeah, I'm a fighter, but the one who's trained me was this strange magical rabbit I found. Like you can do that now. And it's the sort of ways for sort of classes that don't usually get familiars to pick up a familiar. And I love the familiar mascot ability, where your familiar is the heart and soul of your adventuring team, and that lets other people benefit from the master ability of your familiar, and that's actually pretty nice. So you could help like restore people's like focus points or something if you needed it in a clutch situation.
And you already talked about the gladiator a little bit.
I did mention it because yeah, we do have a tournament AP coming next year, and I think that one will be a popular one then.
You think?
I think so because you have stuff with spectators, and I'm guessing there's going to be spectators. So,
I mean, it's pretty interesting to see like an archetype that kind of gives you abilities to use in combat that aren't necessarily combat options. Does that make sense?
yeah,
Like it's not just an attack. Like, oh, I just don't make a gladiator attack. I like to do other things.
yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if, like, again in tournament AP, you might have things where you're sort of getting points depending on how much you're pleasing the crowd, as well as how you're fighting the opponents.
Mm.
So something like that, where you know exactly how to play to a crowd, I think would work very well, depending on how the tournament is being run.
Get to roll
People
performance for your
want to
initiative.
be,
So
yes,
a bard gladiator.
hell yeah, let's go, Warrior Bard
Really?
Gladiator.
Wow. Herbalist.
Herbalist, I love. I think, like, to be truly effective, you have to grab the level 6 feet, the expert herbalism to get the higher level items. But I actually think it's really cute, and like the endemic herbs, where you get the different ones. I definitely want to make a herbalist. I think it's really sweet. I think it's not the most powerful. I think it does get a lot more powerful if you pick up the level 6 feet. But I think it has a few little nice things, like the poultice preparation. It's like you can turn elixirs into poultices and apply them as an action. And one, you get to that lets you do an immediate flat check against something like acid, bleed, fire stuff, which always nice. But also one thing that's sort of not mentioned there, but the fact that it turns into a poultice means that the person does not have to ingest it,
Hmm.
which means that you can use elixirs of life on sickened people because they can usually not drink potions. But if you're applying a poultice, they are not ingesting anything. So that specifically gets past those kind of requirements. So that's actually a nice little thing that I think not everyone picks up on.
You hear that, viewers?
What?
If you're playing an updated carrion crown, that's what you want.
Does that do a lot of sickened?
It's got to do with a lot of undead
Yeah.
ghouls and such. So does strange aeons. Really good stuff.
And also, like the swamp plants, just remove persistently damage straight up. So we like swamp plants.
Oh wow, that's
We love
crazy.
you, swamp plants. Yep.
Wow.
It was running the whole campaign in the swamp.
The Horizon Walker. I don't recall anything about this in previous edition. I do. I do know that there is a version of this in a different fantasy game. I don't
Yeah.
know if you have any.
I know that one, and I think some people are surprised about this one. That one is a lot more about planes,
Yeah.
and the Horizon Walker one in there is a lot more about being on different planes. This one is more specifically about surviving and traveling in harsh environments on Galarian or on your home world. So I think some people were surprised that it wasn't something they expected it to be based on preconceived notions. But I think what it actually is really cool. And again, this is like if you want the kind of survival tone of the Ranger without being a Ranger. If you're like, no, my character is a champion, but I'm an Erutaki champion who lives up in the frozen wastes, who has crossed the crown of the world multiple times, and I want that to be reflected in my feats. It's like, bam, you take Horizon Walker, and it's like there's so many things that aren't locked to certain classes now. Like there's certain things a lot of time that classes are the best at, but it's like you can get other ways. Like you can be really good in certain terrains without just being a ranger. It's not just like, oh, you have to be a ranger if you want to be good in a terrain. It's like, no, you can be anything else and just pick up Horizon Walker, and that can reflect your survival in a desert or your survival in the Arctic. And also, she looks awesome.
I don't like her snowshoes though.
Do you not?
No, I don't think that they would work.
They probably need to be wider at the back, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I
Because
think
otherwise
even
it could interesting.
I think
But
they're
I do
too
like her really
heavy. They're
thick
too
fur.
thick. Yeah, they're too thick,
Yeah.
too heavy. It looks like they're made out of heavy wood. They're thick.
I thought it was leather rather than wood. Because you
Is
can
it
see the little
leather?
stitches.
Well, there's stitches on the middle part,
That's true.
but it's
Yeah, I'm not
definitely wood
sure.
tied together in the back. It looks
Yeah.
like they bent like a looks like they bent wood.
But I like really thick clothes and fur and everything. She
Maybe that
seems
is
to have
leather
better.
though.
Yeah. Well, she does seem to have like decent skis on the back of her. Maybe she should put them on.
Just ski. The
Yeah.
linguist? You want all the languages?
Oh yes, I am making a gnome witch villagisk, and he is going to start with so many languages. I think he might start with 13 languages and get to 19 when he picks up the linguist at level 2. Like his whole thing, he's not going to be good at anything except speaking like every language, but he is going to be good at that. So no, I adore this.
I mean, look at that though. You gain the multilingual skill feat twice.
Feet twice. And if you have the gnome polyglot feat, multilingual always gives you one extra language.
Oh
So
my
that gives you
goodness.
6 extra languages if you pick up gnome polyglot and then that. So there's a reason they have a little gnome there. Gnomes can make good use of this archetype. And yeah, and I love
Yeesh.
some of the feats they have for it as well. And another thing to note is that at least I think 4 of them are skill feats, not class feats. So you can easily pick up a lot of this archetype without sacrificing many class feats.
Also, if you're
And
like a
instead picking up,
gnome polygot rogue or investigator,
you are laughing. Yeah,
yeah,
you
wow.
are absolutely laughing. I'm doing it on a witch because that's what I do. But no, and yeah, there's some really cool stuff where you can like memorize somebody else's speaking habits to get better at pretending to be them. Deception, you pick up how they speak, or like being able to like communicate with somebody really quickly that you can't usually, and work out how they communicate. And then things about like creating like little codes that are really hard to break. I think they've done a lot of really nice things. Like as soon as they said there was a linguist, I was so excited for it. And like part of the problem with excitement is scared you're going to be let down. I was not let down by the linguist. I'm so happy. Like I've immediately already created my little gnome witch. He's going to be a pompous little fellow, but I'm very happy with the
This makes
linguist.
me think of Daniel Jackson from Stargate.
I've not watched it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he was their linguist.
Yeah.
The lore master?
The Law Master, again, this is if you want bardic law without being a bard. So this is how to pick up another sort of a Law Master thing. It hasn't got the dubious knowledge of gossip law though, so it hasn't got the hilarity of that.
Is
But
this
I think
a different version, or is it kind of like the Pathfinder 2e version of the first edition lore master? What do you think?
I wouldn't know enough about that, I'm afraid.
Never played a lore master in first edition. Wasn't my style. It's not a lot. Marshall though.
Marshall. So when I was read the Dragon Disciple, and I was like, oh, this doesn't really work with my barbarian, and I was a bit gutted because I really wanted something to work for her. And I built her, but as I do, as a support barbarian. And she had like all the like share rage feats, and I wanted to be like she sort of helps the team sort of fight with her. And then I found the Marshal, and I fell in love. Like, and the fact that the stuff here isn't concentrate, so you absolutely can run a frontline sort of support war leader Marshal barbarian with no drawbacks. It is incredible.
I also like that it's an archetype that'll give you attack of opportunity that isn't a
Yes,
class
yes, it's
multi-class.
nice. Yeah,
It's
no, it
hard to
gives
get
you a lot
attacks
of
of
really cool
opportunity
things.
on rogues, y'all.
But no, and I love things like the snap out of it, like the like little calls and stuff. Again, the like flavor here is really nice, and the actual ability is very nice. Being able to try and save somebody from a like will effect that's been put on them. So if they're all like dazed or controlled or something, you just go over them, you like snap out of it, and you can try and get them out of it. Like I absolutely love the entire thematics of this. It's so cool.
So this particular archetype, um, I feel like it's Paizo's response to the only good thing 4th edition Dungeons and Dragons ever did, which was the Warlord class.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people with similar sentiments.
Um, and it just did it better, and it put it into Pathfinder. And man, I'm a real fan of this one.
Yeah, no, I think this is my favorite archetype because partly because again something that I wasn't expecting to be good that was like I didn't care for the marshal when it was mentioned, and but when I discovered it, I fell in love, and just the fact that all of it is just fantastic, and having like the different options for what kind of marshal you are, whether it's diplomacy or intimidation. Also the fact that the intimidation one, because yeah, again with my barbarian, she wasn't like cruel to her allies. She could be fearsome in combat, but like the intimidation one isn't like, oh yeah, you bully your like allies, you bully the people who think. It's like, no, you encourage them to strike fear into their enemies. So I really like the intimidation one isn't like a bully, and instead you're just like fearsome. So I like that there's the different types of stances, but also that the intimidation one doesn't force you into being like a bully commander. So I was very happy about that. So yeah.
I really like Target of Opportunity. It's like it might be one of the only ways to get a ranged attack as a reaction.
Yeah. Paladin reaction upgrade gives you it as well, but there are definitely not many.
There might be a way to do it as a rogue. I'm not 100% on that.
Rogues can get a lot of things, so I'll give it.
Not 100% on that though,
No.
but I think so. I really like martial artist because I think it was lacking for the core fighter. Um, this allows a core fighter to, like, if you wanted to play the martial arts character that was less monastic, less like body, mind, spirit, and more just like I want to beat
Brawler.
someone
Yeah,
into the
literally.
dirt. This stacked onto a fighter like lets you do that. It
No,
scales the damage up just like Monk does. It gets rid of the non-lethal, penalties and things like that.
no, because for some of us we love playing like the monk, how it is like with the key strikes and the discipline and everything. But it's like that's not how all unarmed fighters are. And sometimes you just want to be a pugilist, you want to be a brawler, you want to be like a bar brawler sometimes, or you just want to be really good at punching people. And it's like the monk class has a particular role to it that doesn't fit everyone's idea of an unarmed fighter, and this provides it fantastically. And again, I think I like that it can exist without stepping on the monk's toes. Like if you want key strike, you're not going to get it from this. Like there are certain monk features that you are not going to get from this. But if you want stances, if you want good unarmed attacks, you're definitely going to get that from this. So it provides a way to get really cool unarmed fighting without making the monk redundant, which I think was a good line to a difficult line to balance on,
I think
but they
the
managed.
I think its own personal feats also work very well with like a fighter or a ranger or even a rogue.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this on my investigator for Agents of Edgewatch, um, just because he's a rat folk and he has a really low strength, and I don't want to have to carry a weapon. That's how I'm gonna deal with that low strength, guys. I'm just not gonna carry weapons because I can fight really good with my fists. Mauler, I looked at Mauler. Mauler's got a lot of abilities that are very man.
Particular? Or
It like they're not gonna do as much damage as just like wailing on somebody's face, but they're very unique.
yeah.
Except for Avalanche Strike, which is absolutely broken.
That's nasty. Yeah.
Just straight up broken.
I love that it has the flourish and open trait. So it's like it takes 3 actions. Unless you haste it, it's like you're doing your whole turn anyway.
Gosh. It's
No,
so
yeah,
good
you
though.
take them all a dedication just so you can pick up Avalanche Strike later. That's nasty as hell.
I mean 3 attacks at your top map. Oof.
And it's like you're using a two-handed weapon. That thing's not going to be agile. Like,
No.
you'd usually have to suffer loads of stuff, and instead you're just slapping people around. That's great.
Oof. I'm actually very amazed that that's not a level 20 feat.
Yeah,
It's
like,
that
that's
good.
powerful.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
that good. Like I just found a way to make 3 attacks in an entire turn with my rogue with no map
Yeah.
at 13th level, 12th level I think technically. But this is silly, man. Great axe
Will
three
say, I
times to
think
the
there is
face.
the requirement that it has to be against different enemies.
Is there?
Because you make a melee strike against each enemy within your melee reach.
Oh.
So I think
Attack all nearby adversaries.
so. To clarify, if there was only one person next to you, you'd only do one attack. However, if there were 6 people around you, you would make 6 attacks.
Yeah, that's how I'm reading it too.
Yep. So again, can be particular, but that could actually be even more broken than we thought in some situations.
How did they sneak that into level 16? What? Isn't there a fighter feat that does that though too? That lets you take an attack against everything surrounding you?
Quite likely, fighters get a lot of cool stuff.
I'm gonna look that up after
But no,
we're
yeah,
done
no,
with this.
that's a really nice ability.
Man, the medic is everything I've ever wanted in an archetype. It's everything I've ever wanted in an archetype. I don't even know where to begin. Doctor's Visitation is
Visitation,
so
nice.
it's weird. It's so good.
With things like rapid response and everything, I think they've done a lot of help for healers' mobility in this book. There's a lot of stuff really helping, so you're not just like, oh crap, I've got to spend my next turn like walking over to this person and healing them, and then I'm done. They've done a lot more, so you actually have more agency and can move around the battle more and heal with a lot less actions, which I really like.
And I
I feel
mean,
like
resuscitate. So
resuscitate.
good.
Yeah.
Resuscitate.
It's
Whatever.
alright.
Whatever.
Resuscitate.
Everybody knows that I was educated in Kentucky. I mean, what do you expect?
Resuscitate is how we say it here. So yeah. No. No, I think they've done a lot to really help a lot of support classes, which I really appreciate. I mean, there's also stuff like the avalanche stroke with the mauler that's great. For some people love their DPR, some people want to see how much ridiculous damage they can deal out, and that's cool. But some of us want to play supports, and some of us just want to help our team, and I like that they facilitate that as well.
I mean, a raised dead.
Literally with medicine,
Yeah,
that's really
and it's in
nice for
combat. It's in combat.
like yeah,
It's 3
that's
actions.
really nice for like non religious classes, for if you are playing like a Rahadumi healer, or if you're playing like a Chirurgeon and stuff. It's like you can resurrect people without needing divine magic. So yeah, it's nice that it doesn't sort of punish you again for playing a particular character.
I mean, it also adds the additional healing straight out of the dedication.
Yeah. And look, like he's fairly attractive. They're like, just put Dr. Sexy in there, like.
Doctors. You hear that, George Clooney? Come on back, reprise your role as an ER doctor. There's your pirate, which this is the greatest Tengu art I've ever seen, by the way.
I love it.
This Tengu looks like he's about 100 years old.
Yeah, he's seen everything.
He's seen everything, been everywhere.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder.
This is one again. That's
Is that a Tengu bloom in his hat? Probably some from other captain that he took.
Someone else he killed and then dipped it in their blood.
Oh my goodness.
He's an aged and a vicious pirate. But but no, yeah, this is a dedication that, yeah, if you are not going to be in a sea campaign, is not going to do much for you. But if you are, is brilliant. And I absolutely love the addendum for the swashbuckler. That if you use the boarding assault action, you can get panache.
Oh.
So when you make a check to do the boarding assault, because it's a very sort of fancy action, if you get the correct DC, you can get panache as a swashbuckler. So I love that little interaction that they put in there, because it does feel like something that's very sort of a swashbuckly and panache when you're like swinging in on a rope. So I really love that they put that little addendum in there. So nice little synergy. Because again, if you're playing on a pirate campaign, you are probably got a few swashbucklers around. So
I mean, it's also a good way for non-martial spec characters to get good proficiency in decent weapons: hatchet, rapier, scimitar, and whip.
Yes,
because it does scale.
Better ways to get. It just get scale, so that's nice. Yeah. But again, things like the rope runner, fantastic when there's ropes. Not going to give you much outside of that.
But that picture,
I love it.
Poisoner, did you look at this one?
Not much. No, I'm not much of a poisoner. So.
I guess it makes you like an alchemist, but only for poisons.
Yes, so it's like the herbalist fills the if you want the alchemist healing role. This fills the if you want the alchemist poisoning role. We need like a mutagenist style one now.
I don't
So
really have a lot to say about this one.
no, sorry, little poison dude. Keep doing your thing.
We got the Ritualist, though.
Yes. No. And yeah, I'm glad this is uncommon, obviously, because rituals are uncommon. But it's if you did have a campaign that is more focused on rituals and everything, could be coming very nice. And also gives you some ideas of like if you're making a NPC who's very good at rituals, gives you the kind of idea of like what things aren't broken for them to be able to do better with rituals. So that's the thing as well, because that's one of the things. The thing is, like, this book is not only great for building PCs, it's also great for adding cool things to your NPCs for your and for your players to fight. You can easily nick a couple of the feats and stuff in here and throw it on their enemies to surprise them.
Speedy Rituals looks pretty good.
Yeah,
Doing an
that's the number
8-day
of
ritual in
hours.
8
Yeah,
hours? That's crazy.
yes, that's nice.
The Scout is very good. The
Love
Scout
it.
is a very, very good archetype.
Yes. No, I've definitely been sort of testing that out on a couple of characters.
I mean, a 2-action stride feint strike ability right out of the gate,
Brilliant.
level 4.
It's great.
It's
And being
amazing.
able to do stealth instead of deception. And like
Oh,
if you're
yeah.
building a scout character, you're probably good at stealth.
Yeah, maybe not deception because you probably don't have a
No,
good charisma, but you do have a good dexterity. Yeah.
literally. So no, I think they really built into what you need for it.
Or moving faster. I mean, and what is it? What don't elves start with like a 30?
They do,
And then they've
yes,
got their own ability to get 35, and then
they
fleet for
do.
40, and then this to 50, so you can have like a 50 speed elf scout.
And then you need to like be a monk,
Oh
so
well,
you
yeah,
just get yeah,
or a barbarian.
yeah,
Just all of them. Just be all of
yeah.
them.
Swashbucklers get speed as well, so
Do
yeah.
they?
Yes, they do. They get a plus 10 foot, 5 foot, I think, when they
Under
are
panache, I think if they're
panache, and then half when they are out of panache. And
mm,
as it scales, you don't get that straight away because it's half to the nearest 5, which doesn't affect the first bit. As it scales up, it increases your out panache speed as well.
mm.
So they are actually a pretty fast class.
Scroll trickster.
I like Scroll Trickster.
That means you've got a lot to say then.
I don't have a lot to say, but I think it's
Oh,
really nice because I think yeah, something like scrolls or something like I love anything like with all the like little weird consumable items where there's ways to make them daily. Like we'll have the talisman dabbler soon as well. I feel like sometimes it can be tricky to work out like when you should use consumables and if you should save them and if they're worth it. And I think if you can get a daily batch each day and you just know you have to use them that day, it sort of makes you use them more and it makes consumables a lot more active in play. And I think that provides a really cool role. And it's also a really nice way for like yeah, for like a like for example, a spontaneous spellcaster to grab other spells that they can't usually cast, or if you are not a spellcaster, gives you a way to cast spells.
wonder if that's
Because
like a
there is
miniature
no
crag hammer on his waist.
yeah, because there is no requirement to be a spellcaster
No,
for this. It's all
just
about checking
trained.
magic
Yeah, just
items. Yeah,
trained.
and the skim scroll that lets you draw a scroll and then cast it is nice. So you get like a little quick draw, but with your scrolls.
Hmm. Could be interesting.
Yeah. Yes.
Here's Scrounger. Go ahead, tell me how cute the goblin is.
Very cute. She
I like the
scrounges that armor
Scrounger.
together.
I like the
Yeah.
Scrounger. I think Scrounger is I think it's really good for I don't know, man. I feel like this is not the type of character that I would play in maybe a Paizo AP. But it's definitely the kind of character that I would play if I was just getting together with my friends and somebody was like, "Hey, make a 7th level character to screw around with." I'd be like, "Yeah, I wanna be a Scrounger."
Yeah.
Just because I don't know, I'm gonna do whatever I want here.
No, I think it's yeah. Well, I think the reason it's uncommon is there because there is a bit of sort of a GM buy-in and stuff, and sort of how are we doing this. But I think if you have a GM who's willing to work with you on that, I think it can be very cool.
Well, expert disassembly is the greatest thing ever
Ooh, yes, that's nice.
because if I'm going like that's how I disable things in real life is just by taking them apart, right?
Yep.
Like, I don't necessarily break it or do some tricky stuff to it. I just take it apart and then it doesn't work. And it's really cool to see that like represented
If I
as a
break
feat.
it, it doesn't work.
Yeah, if I take it apart, it doesn't work either. It's great. The
So
Sentinel?
that's nice. Yes. So you can get some armor, even if you suck at armor. And some people are very sad that they can't get up to like really high armor stuff. And again, it's like the point is that not everyone can get all of those things. And yeah, I don't think everyone should be able to get like legendary and heavy armor. But I'm glad that there is some way to get some better armor stuff and ways to get like armor specialization and sleeping in armor. And the fact that like the steel skin and armor specialists, some people hadn't noticed that those ones are also skill feats, not class feats. So you're
Mm.
not like using a class feat to be able to sleep in armor. You're using a skill feat to be able to sleep in armor. And if you have a nasty GM like me who ambushes you when you're sleeping with dire wolves, then you will probably want to take that. They all survived. Just about.
Steel skin armor specialist, also a skill feat.
Yeah. So you can pick up armor specializations just as a skill feat.
Is that the only way to get armor specializations on classes that aren't a champion? Wait, fighters get it too, right?
But if you're not a base class with it, quite possibly yes.
Yeah. That's
So
how you get
if you
that
want,
DR, guys.
yeah, if you want your armor specializations, be a sentinel. They're all about the armor.
Shadow Dancer. This is another archetype that is based on a prestige class,
So it's a
and
high
that's why
level
the
one.
the dedication is so high. Um, I believe originally it was used to summon shadows, turn yourself into shadows, maybe even do some shadow teleporting. Also some sneak attack, which I see most of that is reflected here.
Yeah.
Um,
I love that you have to be expert in performance to take it. So you are a shadow dancer.
and a master in
So you have to be
stealth.
master in stealth, but then the expert in performance, I was like, oh, that's cute. I like that.
I mean, it's got some high level feats.
Yes.
Feat 18.
Still not 20 though. I think it might just be the Cavalier.
The
So
Cavalier. The
the
Cavalier.
Cavalier.
It's pretty good though. I mean, gain resistance 5 to all damage except force.
That's nice.
Or ghost touch. Apparently
Yeah.
ghost touch goes through, yeah. A
It's
couple of new
good to know.
spells here. Is this the only archetype that gives you specific focus spells?
In
No,
this book.
the um
Oh no, the
the blessed
Beastmaster.
one. The blessed one
And
also
the
gave
best
you
one.
focus. Yeah.
No, that didn't give you its own specific ones. That gave you ones that already exist. But the
Mm.
Beastmaster has the Beastmaster's trance spell.
And these are really, really decent spells too. Shadow jump, like there's your
Yeah.
teleporting from shadows. Shadow illusion, there's making shadow things.
the Shadow Dancer gives you shadow things.
Yeah, it's really good. This is a I have yet to now that we're on Snarecrafter, I'm gonna complain about snares because I'm probably bad. This probably has nothing to do with Paizo making something useless. It's probably just because I don't see it. Um, as a player, as a game master, snares are great, right? I put snares up. Players are going to walk through the area. They're gonna run into snares. Um, on a player standpoint, like the way encounters work, it's hard to set up snares because once I go into combat, I'm now using action economy to try and lead them into my own snares. And like you're talking like rounds and rounds of combat to move somebody to where you've put a snare.
Yeah.
Um,
So I want to talk about that because I agree that it can be very difficult to use snares in combat. And I think before this feat came out and before the kobolds came as well, the only way you could effectively use snares in combat was to be a ranger. The snare crafting feat was good if you're doing like a survival campaign, you need to like put traps out around your camp and stuff, then it could come in useful. But if you're somebody who wanted to use it in combat, you had to be a ranger because snare specialist was the only way to effectively use snares quickly and the snare feats. And I was actually building a snare ranger who I do have planned to use, who does use it in combat, does precision, so they're only ever going to be doing one attack per round probably anyway, and uses their other things more for their snares and for trying to maneuver people into their snares. This not only makes it so that you don't just have to be a ranger to be a snare crafter, which again I'm really happy about, that people aren't locked into one class for one kind of style of character, but also like it's not redundant with the snare specialist with Ranger, it literally specifies that if you pick this up as well as snare specialist, you get more snares. Like they don't cancel each other out; they add to it. And I think what's great about things like this, like you're talking about, like, yeah, but then I have to maneuver them into surprise snares, lets you deploy a snare into an enemy space as it is standing there and it immediately goes off.
which is
So
really
there
good.
are, yes, and I love that, and things like the ranged things, because some of the snares have like they are like sit in a 5 square base, but then explode when they are hit into like a 10 square or something instead. So if somebody's standing just next to one and you can set it off from range, then you can set it off. So I think a lot of the problems you're talking about do exist with snares, and I feel like this archetype gets around a lot of them
I think it
and provides
helps.
ways.
I
Yes,
think it
it does.
helps.
I think you do have to build it properly to be able to do a snare
Hmm.
one, but I think it's viable, and I'm definitely building a character based on it because I really love the idea of it all.
So I'm just glad we finally got abilities to be able to use snares because
Yep,
they're fine as a hazard versus
yep,
players. But as far as players using them, they're like really rare. They're like rare
yeah.
to be able to use.
No, so I think this makes it much more viable, and I'm really happy about that.
I didn't look at Talisman Dabbler at
Haven't looked
all.
at it much, but
I'm
again, same as the Scroll Trickster. I'm just happy we have ways to make consumables daily. I love that.
I'll be honest, I don't use talismans very often in the game as a player. Like we've got them and like
Yep,
my character's even carrying some and I always forget that I have them
yep,
and then I just end up selling them for
yep.
gold anyway.
That's why I like these classes, because I think that happens a lot. And with classes like this, you're like, this is going to run out at the end of the day anyway. We'll put this here, use it today. So you're not just like, oh, I've got one, oh, I'll use it at some point and stuff and forgetting that. I feel like the daily ones incentivize using consumables a lot more and make it a lot more obvious and memorable. And I really like that. So I think having a talisman dabbler in a party is a way that talismans are actually going to be used a lot more.
I think it's a good thing to create archetypes that do allow you to use a lot of the skipped over things, snares,
Yes,
talismans.
definitely. I really like that.
Like I don't even like drinking a potion in combat. Well, because it takes so many of your actions, right? You
Yeah,
got to draw it, then you got to drink it.
it's
Oh, you
expensive.
drew it. Oh, here's a free attack from the fighter guy that you're standing next to. Oh, you drink it. Here's another manipulate. Let me just hit you again because I've got combat reflexes. It's fine. You don't really need that. I may be a little biased here. I may have legit had a bad experience trying to drink a potion in a Pathfinder Second
You
Edition
got
game.
sorted.
I'm I'm tilted real bad. Oh, my shoulder just popped. Nice.
I heard that.
Yeah, the vigilante. What can we say about the vigilante, man?
It's pretty intense. Like the dedication is a page long.
I mean,
You have to learn it all.
it's something else. It's turning an entire class into a dedication takes dedication. And I think you did a good job here. I really do. I think
Yeah,
Paizo did a good job. I think this is one of those archetypes that you could give players for free for specific campaigns,
yeah,
and it won't detract or pull away from the game at all. It'll just add to it
yeah.
and not make you. I would even give a lot of these feats could even be given away for free.
Yeah, and look, it is great, especially for particular campaigns where you are playing like a superhero style campaign or a magical girl campaign. It's like for people who love doing that kind of stuff, this is how you do it. It's like, oh, we want to do a magical girl group. It's like you all have the vigilante dedication for free because that represents your magical girl identity. And it's like I know there are people out there who have been looking how to make that, so they will be very happy with this.
They
It
don't
does
have
fit certain styles of games.
they don't have the magical girl. I guess quick change, right?
Yeah. You have your change sequence, big sparkles.
The well, no, it makes it one action.
It's a quick sparkle.
Yeah, many guises. Another 16th level feat.
Yeah.
Startling appearance. I don't. It's just one of those things. It's got some skill feats in here too. I like that.
Yeah.
You have anything more about Vigilante, or
Nope,
was
I'm good.
that was you? How about the
Yeah.
Viking?
I love the Viking. I love that the like it's actually something that they've actually looked at some actual like classic Viking stuff for it as well. So like having like the stuff with like the like second shields and everything as well, and having the Viking weapon familiarity and sailing lore. I really love it. It's very thematic, and also yeah, I love this spread of the Viking and the weapon improviser, and they're both just absolutely wrecking someone on the floor. So somebody's about to get destroyed.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
One of them, yeah,
I absolutely love that.
that is really good. Is the weapon improviser a good? Is it a good archetype?
It is. I think it's not. Again, if you're all about DPR and stuff, you're probably not going to like it. But if you're somebody who really likes wacky stuff, it's absolutely great. I think it does in some cases require a bit of help from the GM and a bit of GM buy-in, because it's like, hey, the GM determines this, so it's like check with your GM about sort of how much they're going to sort of let you really use this. But I think it's hysterical, and I love it, and I'm glad it's there.
So,
Because
for those of you viewers that are not huge Pathfinder fans, haven't been around since first edition, where damage was everything. DPR stands for damage per round.
yes,
Um,
apologies.
it's basically certain subsets of people play these particular games to get the as much out of them as they can, and others don't. So, if you're
Yeah,
one of those people that is a high DPR player, this might not be for you.
get
But
Mauler.
Mauler,
Get Avalanche Strike.
yeah, it's probably the best DPR in the game.
Like, it's ridiculous. And they get a reach weapon and just go wild. And I do really love that they have the improvised weapon ideas, because I think, again, GM might need a bit of help. I really like that that's there to sort of say, hey, considering where you are, here's the kind of things that might be around. I think that helps the GM and the players. It gives you some sort of little things and sort of gives you something to work off. So
Does this
I
give
thought
you
that was
any
cute.
any way to like get reach out of improvised weapons, like picking up bigger things?
Ooh, I don't think I've seen that, but that could be a cool thing to add in future.
Yeah, like if I pick
It's
up a
like if it has a
mop,
pole, you can use it as a reach. I feel like there's something you could rule, but I don't think it's something that's actually in here.
I mean it's got branch.
Yeah.
Like how big is the branch? I
No,
mean it's got
that's
a
yeah, it
quill. I
depends.
mean if you can
Stab someone.
with a quill, I should be able to
Yeah.
pick up a large branch and hit it reach. Oh, beautiful art of some Sahuagin versus a swashbuckler there. As far as feats go, we can
Mhm.
cover this. I don't think we'll spend an incredible amount of time here.
Yeah.
There are a few feats that stand out to me. Um, I believe it is Skitter, which is a new way
Yes.
to get a crawl speed without needing to be particularly
Acrobatics,
good at acrobatics.
which is nice.
True perception, I think
So
is.
good.
I mean, it's a level 19 feat, but
Yeah.
man,
And it's
like
Rangers, Rogues, Investigators only. But if you are playing a Ranger, Rogue, or Investigator, pick up that feed. It's so
because
good.
you don't get true seeing as a spell on either of those classes.
Literally, it's brilliant. So yeah, just being able to get
Really
true
good.
seeing because you're so perceptive. No, they added quite a few new perception general feats in, I noticed, which is nice. And then obviously one of the other big things that they added a few in was for society, because along with the investigator, we obviously have quite a few new society archetypes as well. So I like that they sort of lent a bit more into actually creating some really good society skill feats. So I thought that was nice to see. And if I can just call out probably my favorite one, which is risky surgery, because
Risky surgery is pretty good.
it's so good.
Really
Like
good.
once you've got a decent level as well, like you can easily like heal way more than it hurts reliably. So
There
no,
are
this is
there are
really
some
nice.
feats that I think are dangerous and are gotcha feats. I believe armor assist is one of those.
What do you mean by that?
It's just not a good feat.
It's not very good.
Having the like even having the time it takes to put on medium and heavy armor, it doesn't change the fact that you're still doing it when combat's over.
Yeah. No, I do not think it's a great feat either. So
That's
like
just
if I
one of
had a
those.
squire player, I would probably let them pick a different feat.
Yep.
Because yeah, I don't think it's the best. But I do like that we have like Bon Mot now, and and the other diplomacy one, which was no calls for alarm. So we actually have a couple of little diplomacy actions in combat you can use now as well with diplomacy. So because obviously for intimidation we have demoralize, and then now for diplomacy we have Bon Mot. It's sort of the different versions of it. Again, I think that's sort of cute with the marshal as well, having the sort of intimidation and diplomacy sides, and providing a bit more for both. So I
They
really like
really
that.
they really had to add Bon Mot, or else some of your
Yeah.
swashbuckler builds wouldn't have any use whatsoever.
Yes. No, absolutely. But I'm glad they didn't make it swashbuckler only. Like they could have
Yep.
made it a swashbuckler action, and instead they made it a diplomacy action. And I also love just the critical failure. Your quip is atrocious. It's just like you just get horrifically embarrassed. No, so
I
I'm
feel like
very happy about that.
I'll talk about doublespeak for a second.
Yeah.
I don't like it
All
because
right.
it's got such a high level, requires such a high mastery in a skill, a master of deception, to do what a certain class has been able to do. And maybe this goes beyond, that. I'm talking about thieves can't, obviously, for like rogues or ne'er do wells to be able to talk in code, which was normally a mainstay of that particular
Yeah.
class. This seems to do the same thing, but
I
a
think
little bit more.
I think there's been some confusion about doublespeak. It doesn't give you a particular code or particular
I
language.
know.
It's not something you've prepared beforehand. It's if you're talking to someone and somebody says some words with no preparation with your allies, they know what you're saying.
Yep.
So it's not the same as like a code or a language. In the same way, I don't think I get what you're saying. I think there is some confusion about that. It's not. It's that if you are saying and you suddenly start speaking kind of nonsense, your allies can pick up on what you mean, even if you haven't negotiated it beforehand, which I think is partly why it's slightly high level as well. They just understand you because they know you.
It's a very interesting. It's a very role play heavy feat.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I think the social ones is going to be that as well. It's not going to work in every group and it's not going to work in every party. But there's like, and like for something people saying like, oh, I would let my players do this anyway. It's like that's cool. Let them, and don't take this feat in this game because that's not what it's there for. But there's other GMs who are saying no, you can't do that without the feat. And like I like having the feat there, so in case like I'm like someone who's like no, but here's a way to get it. But then it's so easy to just say as well, like, oh no, don't take that. You guys can do that. If there's a feat that you're like, no, you guys can just do that. I assume you know how to do that anyway. Like I think it's so easy to just remove stuff, and it's a lot more difficult to add stuff if you don't know how to build stuff. So I'd rather have the options there to be removed than not have the options. That's my perspective on that well-known argument. But I have to agree with you on Skitter. I'm so glad that's there because it's like if you're really fast but you suck acrobatics and you can still only crawl a tiny bit, it kind of sucks.
Yep.
So it's nice that there is another way to be able to crawl fast.
Did you have anything else for feats?
Nope, I think I'm good with that then.
What about spells? You got a lot for that?
Yes,
I'm gonna skip a specific piece of art for you there, Alice, but we'll go
thank you.
straight to spells.
Yeah.
Um,
No, we got some cool new spells.
a few. Animate rope is pretty good. I've heard tell on forums that animate rope, as it's written, is broken.
Because it doesn't specify that the rope has to be unattended.
Yeah. So apparently
Yes.
you can just mess with anybody's rope.
Yes. So, or a non-living rope-like object. So it's like
Non-living,
what
like,
rope-like object, like a whip, maybe?
or an undead snake.
No, that's no, that is not an object. I've seen this argument. It is not an object.
I
If it
think
is a dead snake, then it's an object.
it's I feel like that spell's going to get a little bit of errata.
Yes, I think there might be some clarification.
Or maybe they intended for it to
Yep.
to be used on somebody's whip, for example, that they have like on their hip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not going to be useful against every enemy, but maybe it is there to be if you are fighting someone with a whip to do something cute.
Or their backpack straps.
And obviously, what we do have to mention as well is we do have animate dead now. Necromancers rejoice! You have your summon undead spell. So
note that it is a summon spell though, and not a create undead out of
yes.
So
it is not evil.
Nope.
So you can just summon undead. Go wild. You can't summon liches though; they're uncommon. Sorry, guys. But no, I think there's a lot of people who are very sad this was not in the core rule book, and will be very happy that it is here now.
Some new first level damage spells.
Yeah.
Which is good. We were missing some of that damage type.
Yes, and yeah, having quite a few new necromancy spells because there was the problem that like for necromancer wizards there wasn't really necromancy spells on the arcane list at every level. A fair few necromancy spells were like divine and everything, so necromancers were a little bit sad. But I think they'll be a lot happier with this book. There's a lot of really nasty, horrid necromancy spells for you.
Any specific spells that stand out to you that you want to talk
There's a
about?
couple. Charitable Urge is probably one of my favorites, where you just make a target start giving away their items to everyone around them, which I think is absolutely hysterical, and I love it. And I love just being like a really like pious cleric and casting that on someone, and just being like, "Oh no, give your things away," and they like literally have to start giving their things away to the people around them. It's hysterical, and I love it. And then you just hand your dagger over to someone. Great. Cozy Cabin, I love a much lower level like magnificent mansion spell, but it just creates a sort of little cabin. It's so cute, and I love it.
There
Oh,
was always a lower level spell for that. It's Greyhawk inspired from the Mage Leomund. Leomund's
oh yes,
Secure Shelter, Leomund's Secret Hut.
kind of hurt. Yeah, but we don't have that in
Well, no,
Pathfinder,
because
do we? Yeah.
it's
Yes.
based
So
on a
yeah.
named character from,
So, but we have the cozy cabin now, and I love it. It's
and we
very
have the
cute.
Gourd Home. We have the Gourd Home too.
Yes.
The item, the Gourd Home. That's fun.
But no,
Is
and
this
then
one chamber pot, 3 cots, 3 people got to share one
yeah,
chamber pot? Come on, guys.
that's gonna stink. But
Does
no,
it
and yeah,
though?
another. It could do.
It's
Depends.
magic. Maybe it doesn't.
Yeah, maybe. It just cleans it all away. It's pretty nifty. Final Sacrifice, I think, is going to be another interesting one. I've already seen that used, and I've definitely got it planned with my Construct Summoning Wizard. I will say, anybody who's using that, do keep in mind that if you are creating things that aren't mindless and you destroy them, you are evil. The spell gains the evil trait, even though it doesn't have it as a base. So I've seen a couple of bit of confusion about that. But if it's a broom, it can go boom.
If it's a skeleton, it can go bigger boom.
Yeah.
Heat
We've
metal.
got yes, always
Finally got heat
classic nice
metal.
to have. Yes,
Finally got Ice Storm back.
and we have indestructibility now. This is the only
Oh,
level 10 spell in this book, I believe, on every list, and you make yourself immune to any effect or damage that would harm you um, until the start of your next turn. So you only get a small window because it's a 2-action cast, but that could be pretty powerful, especially if you know you're about to face something pretty immense at high levels. So again, I think it's a niche, but you might be glad to have when you have it.
I mean, it would let you. It would let you.
And if you have something like quicken casting,
Oof.
like that's probably a nice one to use it on for your once a day. Quicken indestructibility, and then you have 2 more actions if you are running through like a stream of lava. So
Oof.
but no, pet cash, very happy to have, very happy it's on every list. Everyone wants to look after their pets. Everyone wants their animal companion safe. Everyone wants their familiar safe. Thank you. Right, so you
Magic
understand
Stone.
us.
Magic Stone comes back. That's normally a right out of the gate thing.
Yeah, and then my absolute favorite spell, which you know very well, is Thoughtful Gift. Like, it is such a cute spell, and this isn't one that's sort of like a classic one that I've really seen in other stuff, where you just get to send something you hold over to someone else as a 1 action. So one thing is like this would help you with your whole potion thing, is that you don't need to draw it if I send it to you.
That's
because it's
true.
only an action from me. So there you go. That's one little help with your potions. And then the fact that it sort of not only gets increasing range at higher levels, but also you get to do it even if you don't see them. And like this is only a 1-action cast, level 1 spell. And you prep this, and so you're organizing a prison break with one of your allies, and you're just like sending them little things, send them the keys, the dagger, a couple of little potions while they're inside the prison. As long as you know them, you can absolutely do that. So I think there's some really cute uses. I think this is something that has a lot more uses than it looks like when you first see it, and I really like it.
I think you have this in my game, do you not?
I do. I've swapped out my first level spell from my innate spells for Thoughtful Gift. So if our poor monk is about to die on the other side of the map, I can send him a healing potion.
Didn't help the poor cleric though.
No. I got to her though.
Transmute Rock to Mud makes a reappearance, which is really good. I like that. Wall of Flesh is disgusting.
Horrifying. It's awful.
Wasn't there a Bard focus spell that was really really good?
Ouroboros is this.
Is it?
I like that one. Oh, are you talking about Pied Piping?
No,
Because I like
maybe.
the Ouroboros. Because that one
Isn't that
helps as the
Ouroboros?
reaction. Stops somebody dying. And I'll
Fast
take
healing
that.
2. Sustained up to 4 rounds. I mean, there's 8 hit points of healing to everybody. On
Yep.
him healing, that's pretty good. Champions got some litanies. These are mostly
Yep.
for the
Evil stuff, yeah. This is the
evil
evil
stuff.
champions. Yes.
Monks.
Got key form.
Is that good?
That's Super Saiyan.
Oh, well, okay, clearly, right.
In
Right,
your
right.
key form, your hair, feathers, skin, or scales change color and begin to glow.
And you gain a fly speed equal to
Yep.
your land speed. Yeah,
It is not subtle. I love it.
it's not subtle at all. No, you're right.
They're just like, you're playing a monk. You want to do this. We know what you want. Here you go.
A lot of Oracle stuff here.
The Oracle ones have some really nice stuff. Like if you look at the battlefield persistence for the Battle Oracle, and look at the thing against the incapacitation effect, that could help. So when you're fighting bosses, they can't get critical failures on you.
Wow.
So that I think can save you a few times. I am absolutely in love with the Cosmos Oracle, and partly because I can cast Moonlight Bridge, which again fairly niche, but the whole aesthetic of it is like I would die for that. Like any moon stuff I adore, and so yeah, Moonlight Bridge I'm very happy about.
That
It's
was
adorable.
that was an ability that the Lunar Oracle had in first edition, was making
There you
moonlight
go.
bridges, but they you could make them walls too
Yeah, nice.
back when they were doing it. So you could hide everybody in a hole and put a moonlight
I mean,
bridge over it.
technically, you could use this as a wall because it's still got things about not about like attacks not being able to pass through.
Well, it does say up to 45 degrees upward or downward.
Yeah, but you could do it as a slant.
Yep.
And then you all hide behind it. So there are ways you could effectively use it for that, but also you can use it as a pretty moonlight bridge, which I'm very happy about.
But they could just walk right through it, though.
Yes.
Yeah, they could walk through the
But
wall part.
the thing is, they also walk right through it if it's a bridge, if
Yep.
they're not your allies, which
Yep.
is hysterical. So you're all running over the bridge, they can't run over the bridge.
I got to play with a Pathfinder Society character that wants to use Tempest Form to become the next Eye of Bendigo.
So good.
Now that's their goal. Rangers
So
finally
good.
got focus spells.
Yes. I think they were sort of going back and forth on whether to give them it, and I'm glad they have. Again, they haven't made Rangers just like a half martial, half spellcasting class. If you don't want to have any spells as a Ranger, you don't need any spells as a Ranger. But if you do want to heal your animal companion and you want to heal your animal companion, you can do
Yep,
that now.
it's really good. Sorcerer's got a few more.
Also, Soothing Mist for the Ranger.
Oh.
That's another one that
Is that a heal?
automatically removes persistent damage as well. It heals and removes persistent damage. So that one's a nice one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Some good stuff. Hunter's Luck, too. I see that.
Yeah, no, Ranger's got some cute stuff. The Sorcerers, I really like some of the Nymph stuff. Like, I love that one of the Nymph spells for the Sorcerer Established Ward. It's all about, like, being good in you set up a particular area, and you, like, get the plants and stuff, and you're really good in that area. But if you leave it, then you're not as good, and you get drained and everything. And it's a whole thing, because, yeah, rather than, like, I was worried, like, when the Nymphs, they lean more into, like charm and seduction and stuff, but they've gone more, like, partly for their fact that they're tied to a certain place. And one of the big things with, like, Dryads is, like, they're strong by their tree. They leave the tree, they're weak, and they're sort of leaning into that idea a bit more, which I think is something I wouldn't necessarily have thought of for creating their spells, which I think is really cute. I'm using cute a lot today, sorry.
So the Witch has a lot of focus things, because Witch is a new class, much like Oracle.
And you get cantrips.
Yep. Cackle got changed from the playtest.
So the Barbarian Witch sustain with Cackle, I'm afraid, is dead. That was very funny, but Cackle fills a different niche now. And
Yep.
one of the big niches it fills now is it makes witches very good early summoners because you can summon something, sustain for free, and summon something else, and then sustain them both. So you can easily get two creatures on the board pretty early on as a witch.
Which
So
makes me wonder what the upcoming summoner is going to have.
yeah, probably some nasty stuff.
Yep. Evil Eye makes its return.
And I love Nudge Fate
Nudge
because the
Fate.
amount of times we are one away from something and how bad that feels. And I love that you can do that retroactively. And that it's all like it's not just like, oh, you have to say before you do the attack. It's like, no, if you've done an attack and you were one off, this gives you that one. I love that because it feels so bad when that happens. So the witch is the anti feels bad man class with that.
You do have to sustain it though.
You do, yes. That's most of their cantrips you have to sustain is their general thing.
But I mean, you could always use Cackle to sustain it
Yep.
for free.
And if somebody uses it in the first round, you don't have to worry about it.
Yep. I haven't seen rituals come into play yet. We in our Age of Ashes game, we did toy with buying my rogue the Raise Dead ritual, and then we figured out it
Gosh.
was cheaper to just let the cleric cast it
Yeah.
in the long run.
I think again, rituals are something that can work a lot better in like big home games where you've got a lot more like room to play with and there's not like a set
A lot more
story
time.
necessarily.
Yeah, a lot more
Yeah,
time.
literally. So, but I'm glad rituals are there for that because I think they can work really well, especially if you're having something that's really around something to do with like demons and angels and stuff, and there's big rituals involved. I think it's really cool to have it there. And of course, I'm so happy we have the heart bond ritual now with the gorgeous art of our lovely wives getting married. Um, and I'm very very happy that it says two willing creatures for the heart bond because yeah, we've had some awkward stuff with some love domains and whatnot about so I'm glad this is all very clear about consent. And you can have this with multiple people at once. Like you have to do it two at a time, but you can all your whole party can get married to each other, and as long as you all care about each other, it will work fine. Like there's a whole thing that they must share genuine affection. It doesn't have to be romantic. If you all just found family and you all adore each other and you all want to get friend married and get benefits, you can do that. I love that.
I want to get friend married.
Yeah. Most lovely
Reincarnate.
parties. Yes. I think some people are happy. That's it.
I think most people were probably happy about create demi-plane, because it's definitely something in high level play that was always a big thing in Pathfinder 1 is wizards making their own demi-planes. But now you can have people that aren't wizards making their own demi-planes. Like, how do you feel about that?
Ah, sorcerer's
You
taking
know?
over. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just a rogue that's legendary in Arcana, and now I have
Yeah.
my own demi-plane. Like, now what? You know? The investigator now has his own religious demi-plane. I mean, it's,
Yeah. It's
you know?
cool. I like it.
I mean, who else can get legendary skills? I think everybody can get legendary skills.
Everyone can get legendary skills, yes. I think in general, you can generally get about 3 skills to legendary if you really specialize. Um, but it can vary on what you do. And in some cases, you can get more with things like the acrobat and stuff.
Yeah, if you're just a rogue or an investigator, you get
Yeah.
like 10,
Yeah.
20. I don't know. All your skills are legendary. I'm mastering so many skills on my 13th level rogue.
So let's get to legendary first. Maybe stealth.
It looks like they brought in rituals here. It seems like they brought in the they brought in clone. Uh, I'm gonna mispronounce this word. Simulacrum.
Simulacrum.
Yep. Which are usually things for like your evil spellcasters have, so that you can keep like a big bad guy alive repeatedly over and over and over
Gotcha.
again. Because if you kill the big bad wizard and he's got a clone of himself that comes to life after he dies,
Feels bad.
then you got to fight him again. And now his minions who live tell him what happened, and he has more info about you, and he's a little more dangerous.
That
Teleportation
could be very cool.
circle.
Yes.
Unseen custodians is really cool. Not necessarily. Word of recall used to be a just a spell. It was like a divine teleportation. Yeah, I know. I'm
Yeah.
looking off camera here, trying to remember what it did in Pathfinder 1.
So this is basically that if you have a magical home base spell,
Yep.
you would provide this ritual to your party if they have a magical home base, so that they can all return home. So again, it's sort of like for particular campaigns, it works very nicely.
So if you want to do it, man, you gotta heighten the snot out of it and pay a lot of money for this. Woof.
Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm.
Secret magic safe houses are expensive.
The check has the secret trait. You don't know whether it passed until you speak the word and see if you go back or not.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you don't know. You don't know if it worked.
That's so good.
Yeah. Arcana or occultism expert. The check has the secret trait. Yeah,
Oh, that's so good.
the game
You're
master's
just like,
like,
well,
yeah, you
hope
cast
that
the
works.
ritual. It's great. This is a good picture.
It's a great picture. I love this. It's so cool.
It's so good. Items. I didn't really look into items.
Yeah.
I really didn't. I
I've had a
didn't.
little look. Yeah.
Sword
Firstly,
cane is
yes, I'm.
not. It costs too much for a low level character, and it's not as good as a rapier. I mean, I get maybe you want the concealable part, but it's just I feel like it's either costs too much or it needs more. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
No, definitely. I hadn't actually clocked the price for that. That is pretty expensive for what it is.
I mean,
So
that's a
yeah.
third of your starting gold.
Yeah. No, I
Like,
hadn't clocked that.
yeah, my investigator, I was like, yeah, I'll do a sword cane because I just
You're
don't,
like,
feel.
whoo!
Yeah, I was like, I just don't feel like he would walk around with a rapier. And then I saw the price and I was like, yep, he walks around with a rapier.
I love my rapier.
It's like, my rapier is awesome.
No, I like some of the cute little new adventuring gear that was added though, like the brass ear and the periscope. And again, sort of tuning it for like investigator styles for like listening at doors and looking around places. I think there's a couple of really cute little investigation items that they've added in. I'm happy it exists now.
I mean, the
And talking
detective's
about
kit
the
costs so much
periscope,
money.
we also have one of the new staffs kind of works as a periscope as well.
Mm.
One of the staffs has little eyes on it, and you can like poke it around corners and see through it. The staff of impossible visions, which I love. So you just sort of like pop your staff around the corner, so you don't get hit by a spell, and it has a look. So, or like, oh yeah, over a little ridge to see what's up there. I really love that. Just this little like wizard who's just exploring everywhere with their staff. So that's one of my favorite ones. And it feels like, yeah, a couple of the items, like we've got some cool new ones, and they've definitely sort of tried to add at least one in, I think, for all of the new classes. Which is cool. Like, I love that we have like quite a few new like alchemical items for the investigator. We have what's definitely not luminol.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where's the fantasy luminol got to? Yeah, the forensic dye. It's like it takes on a bright blue hue when activated. It's like, this is luminol. Cool. And then yeah, things like we've got the walking cauldron for the witch. So, and I love that they gave the like walking cauldron like a load of personality, which I absolutely adore. Is like it can carry up to 2 bulk of ingredients for potions inside it. But if you put anything else inside it, or you put too much inside it, it stands in place and refuses to move until 10 minutes after you remove the excess. So it's not just like, oh, take it out and then it'll move again. It's like, no, it will sit there annoyed for 10 minutes that you made it carry all that, and then it will move. And that's just so funny. And that is a level 1 magical item. So, like, we don't have a lot of level 1 permanent magical items, but we do have that one. And yeah, it can carry your little kit for you and then work as a little cauldron. So that's one of my faves.
New masks.
Yes, and we have the lover's gloves, which are adorable. And again, like all the stuff is like specifically like you feel particularly strongly towards someone. And again, it doesn't need to be love, like in terms of romantic love. It can just be like your siblings or you're just good friends and you love each other. And it's like it's all just like you all like love each other and you get like feelings off that. Again, great for your magical girl campaigns, but I just love it. It's adorable.
That's actually really cool.
It is.
Once per day, 10 temporary hit points.
Yeah. And you get the same benefits if they also like you, which would suck if you didn't get it. And you're like, bro.
So this is how
Somebody,
you can find out if
yeah,
your
if somebody's being
companion.
replaced or something.
Wow, it's
Yeah, no,
really good
that
things.
could actually have some like sneaky, actually pretty good effects for if somebody's being replaced by a doppelganger or something. Suddenly you're not getting the effects.
The fact that a walking cauldron is only 12 gold is actually
It's
funny.
it's 12 gold, level 1 item. Like you can literally pick that up as a witch. Like it's great.
I
And
just think
I'm
it's
getting a
funny.
feeling the Urn of Ashes, I'm assuming, is geared towards the like ancestor oracles, where it's
Maybe.
like you carry an urn of your like ancestors and they help you out. I love that. It's so funny.
I mean, there's victory plate too.
That's so good. Where you like get your victories like embedded onto your armor and then like call out power from them to fight.
Really cool.
Yes, no, I think there was some nice little items, and I'm glad that we did get like another permanent level 1 item and some nice new consumables. Like with my alchemist in one of my parties was very happy about some of the new bombs. Uh, Had him find the crystal shards in the most recent game, and he was very excited about that. So yes, no, I think we got some cute new ones. I still want more items. I always want more items. They're great, but I'm very happy about what was added.
Winged rune is really good.
Yes, it is.
It's
So even if you
expensive.
aren't an
It's
asthma, yeah,
expensive.
it gives you a fly speed. It's going to be expensive if it gives you a fly
Very
speed.
expensive. If you want to fly, just be a ninth level human.
Or be a high level asthma or tiefling.
Yep. Yep.
So.
Is that the only rune? No. Ready. What is ready?
That's for armor, isn't it? Does that just like let you put it on straight away?
Oh,
Or
well, light armor you can don in
what is a three
3,
action activity? See,
and
that's
medium or
more
heavy
effective
is 1 minute.
because that's something you could actually do in combat if you were
With your light
ambushed.
armor, you could.
Yes. So that's if you're a light armor user, that could actually be effective if you think you're going to get ambushed. So that's
But I
actually
guess
got
the
a bit
greater
important.
one at level 11,
The greater one lets you do it with medium or heavy as a 3-action activity. So yeah, this is like the better armor assist here. This is the actual effective armor assist
yeah.
that actually lets you put armor on in combat. So there you go. So that's actually worth.
So you can play Iron Man, guys. You can just have your suit of armor
Yes.
standing there and it's open, and you just
Yeah,
kind of walk up to
vigilante
it and
stuff.
jump into it.
Yeah.
It's fine. That or Fallout armor. That is this book. What do you think
Yes.
overall on the book?
I adore it. No, I was very excited for this book, and I think it met a lot of my expectations and exceeded a lot of them. I have a couple of small quibbles with it, which we've gone over, but like they nowhere near compare to the amount of awesome stuff. And again, I think the archetypes are an absolutely incredible addition to this game, and
Well,
I love them.
our friends Jake and Krug over at Q Times, I think they said it best when they said they would have paid the full price of this book just for the archetypes chapter.
Literally,
Yeah.
like they're just like here's like over 40 new archetypes to the game, like absolutely massively expanding the amount of options you have. Like it's increased it ridiculous amounts.
I mean,
Like again,
after hearing all this, they're sitting over at Paizo going, so when can we release the advanced archetypes guide?
yes. We will buy it. Like I will
Yeah.
absolutely buy that.
Yeah, the advanced archetypes guide would get snatched so hard.
No, I'm so excited about this book. And yeah, I've already built numerous characters with some of the rules in here. So
well, we've let this part of the of our little review, what we like to do here, go for a little over an hour and a half, hour 45 actually. So
nice.
we're gonna play you guys some music. I'm gonna let Alice say her goodbyes or whatever she has, and then we'll catch you with the next guide. I think you wanted to do Legends. You want to do Legends?
Yes, I'm very excited about Legends.
When I put this on YouTube and it gets a lot of votes, people want us to do Legends or specifically want to hear Alice go on and on about Legends. Because I know she probably has a lot to say about it. Just leave a message, let us know. Or anything else you want us to review.
A 2-hour conspiracy video about Erasne and how that book confirmed that she's like involved in the Crimson Reclaimers, so it's all gonna be great.
Well, there you go. If you want us to review Legends, specifically Alice, leave a comment when we get this up. Let us know. Tweet us over at Roll to Roll 1 or at Alice Hewitt. You see her right there. Alice O. Hewitt, I guess.
Yes. Alice Hewitt was taken. tragic.
Oh, it's tragic.
Yeah, it's identity fraud. It's terrible.
You got anything else before I get us out of here?
No, I'm all good. Love you all. Stay safe.
All right. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching.